What is the oldest temple in the world? Is it this one in Cambodia, built 800 years ago? Or maybe this ancient Greek temple from 550 BC? Well, neither of those are the oldest by a long shot, because hidden away in a remote part of Turkey is a mysterious site known as Göbeklitepe. That will change everything we think we know about the development of human civilization, because what we have here may very well be the oldest temple on Earth, built by humans so advanced they make our sophisticated modern society look primitive. And the truth is truly mind-blowing. The archaeological site of Göbeklitepe is located in southeastern Turkey, near the Syrian border. It dates back to around 9600, 8200 BC. That makes it almost 12,000 years old, and yet it has only recently been discovered. But more importantly, it completely rewrites our understanding of human history. As you can see, the site consists of massive pillars made from limestone that weigh several tons each. These pillars were then elaborately carved with geometric patterns, skulls, animals, and more. Some of the pillars were even placed in circles, forming enclosures up to 100 meters in diameter. We even found a circular ditch surrounding the entire site. To put this into context, we often think of early humans as being primitive and uncivilized, barely a step up from apes. But the builders of Göbekli were able to quarry, transport, lift, and precisely carve massive stones with tools made from flint. They created structures so large and complex that it would put many modern-day construction companies to shame. Now here's the thing. This site wasn't just some random find. Archaeologists had already uncovered evidence of human habitation at the site going back to the 10th millennium BC. Basically, it was occupied for over 7,000 years. Now sure, that's nothing compared to settlements like Jericho and Caen, which have been inhabited for tens of thousands of years. But for the time period, this is really quite remarkable. Because if Göbeklitepe teaches us anything, it's that hunter-gatherer societies could build elaborate structures and maintain them for millennia. In fact, the earliest phase of the settlement shows signs of deliberate urbanization. By that I mean the people of the time planned out their city, dividing it into blocks for residential use and saving other areas for monumental architecture. So clearly these weren't your typical nomadic hunter-gatherers. It's because of this that experts once believed that agriculture was the driving force behind the creation of complex societies. After all, farming provided a reliable food source, which gave humans the freedom to specialize in different tasks and eventually build cities. Without agriculture, there would be no civilization. However, Göbeklitepe calls this hypothesis into question. If hunter-gatherers could build such an elaborate structure, then what would a settled agricultural society produce? Here's the thing. Until now, we thought that the Neolithic Revolution, or the shift from hunting and gathering to agriculture, occurred around 12,000 years ago in the Fertile Crescent. From there, it slowly spread outwards to the rest of the world. But at this point, it looks like the revolution may have happened independently in many parts of the world at roughly the same time. For example, rice cultivation began around 13,000 years ago in China, while potatoes were domesticated in Chile around 14,000 years ago. And who knows what else we haven't discovered yet. This is significant because it suggests that the adoption of agriculture was not a direct result of environmental changes, but rather something sparked by the human mind. What's more, Göbeklitepe shows that this cognitive revolution came thousands of years before the start of agriculture. And that's why I believe that organized religion and communal building efforts may have spurred the Neolithic Revolution, not the other way around. See, if you wanted to build something like Göbeklitepe, you would need everyone in the community to work together. This would require organization, cooperation, and planning, something that we associate with religion. And when you bring people together on a massive project like this, it's likely that they would come up with new ideas and innovations. They might realize that if they planted crops and raised animals, they could sustain themselves without having to constantly move. So it's possible that the cognitive revolution, whatever that may be, caused humans to settle down and start farming, not the other way around. Of course, this is just my own personal hypothesis. Currently, the team excavating Göbeklitepe believe that the site had a religious function. They think that the pillars represent ancestral spirits, and that the circles are burial grounds. However, Klaus Schmidt, the German archaeologist leading the excavations, believes that the site was used for healing rituals. This may sound far out, but listen to his reasoning. He says that the site was deliberately constructed in a valley where 3 rivers converge and that the pillars were aligned with the cardinal directions. He also says that we found many animal bones, including cattle, sheep, goats, and pigs, suggesting that the site had a sacred enclosure where animals were sacrificed. Other researchers are even more extreme, believing that the site served as a gigantic astronomical observatory. Why else, they ask, would the pillars be aligned with the cardinal directions? Proponents of this theory point to a pillar known as the Magician, which has a hole drilled through its center. According to archaeologist David Robert, this would have been used to track the movements of the sun and stars. Robert says that the layout of the entire site mirrors that of the cosmos, with the central area representing the celestial pole. As he puts it, the location, shape, and orientation of the enclosure reflect the celestial dome above. Now, admittedly, these theories are highly speculative. In fact, there's so much speculation that some people believe that the site was actually built by extraterrestrials. To be fair, this is probably not true. While aliens certainly exist, I don't think they visited Earth 12,000 years ago to help some primitive humans build a giant temple. Instead, I think there's a perfectly logical explanation for Göbeklitepe, and I believe it will be uncovered in the coming years. But whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: Göbeklitepe is a profound discovery that forces us to rethink what primitive humans were capable of. For most of human history, we've assumed that hunter-gatherer societies were small, nomadic bands of people that lacked any complex social structure. But Göbeklitepe shows that this was not the case. Hunter-gatherers could build monumental structures, plan cities, and cooperate on a large scale. Think about it. The average person today couldn't survive without electricity, running water, or modern medicine. Yet the people of Göbeklitepe thrived 12,000 years ago, without any of these things. What's more, they were able to do so for thousands of years. The longevity of the site suggests that the people who built Göbeklitepe knew how to sustain themselves and their society long-term. This raises the question, what happened to these people? Why don't we see their descendants in Turkey today? Well, the current theory is that a drought killed off most of the plants and animals in the region, causing the people of Göbeklitepe to abandon their homes and migrate elsewhere. Of course, this is pure speculation, but it's likely that climate change played a major role in the collapse of Göbeklitepe. After all, we know that the Earth experienced rapid climate change at the end of the last ice age. Temperatures rose by as much as 5 degrees Celsius, and precipitation increased by 50%. This created the perfect conditions for the rise of agriculture, but it may have spelled disaster for hunter-gatherer societies. With their traditional way of life under threat, the people of Göbeklitepe may have packed up and moved to a new location, taking their religion and culture with them. Over time, their descendants would become the ancestors of modern humans. So in a way, Göbeklitepe is the cradle of humanity. It's the birthplace of our religion, culture, and way of life. Still, there are many questions that remain unanswered. What exactly was the site used for? How did the people of Göbeklitepe sustain themselves? And how did their society evolve over time? Unfortunately, we may never know the answers to these questions. Most of the ancient world was lost to time long ago, and what little remains is being destroyed by modern-day looters and the elements. That's why it's so important that we continue to fund archaeological research. By uncovering the secrets of the past, we can learn how to better take care of the present and plan for the future. Who knows? Maybe someday we'll uncover even older sites that rewrite human history once again. The truth is that there's still so much that we don't know about the ancient world that it's truly exciting. Thanks for watching.